Middlesex made it 3 LV County Championship wins from 3 at Lord's this season as they defeated Lancashire by 10 wickets in the final session of their latest game at the home of cricket, with Tim Murtagh producing some outstanding spells in taking 6 wickets. The last day began with Lancashire on 15 for 1 in their second innings, 178 runs behind. They needed a solid start and for things to go their way in the morning session at least. And they would have been relieved that 2 large appeals for a catch against night watchman Simon Kerrigan and an LBW against Paul Horton were given not out. Middlesex were proving quickly that they were up for the task at hand. It took them 6.5 overs to get the breakthrough they desired, Kerrigan edging Murtagh behind. Murtagh bowled a terrific opening spell and deserved this moment. He shared the ball with Toby Rowland-Jones at the start of the day, and the latter should also have had a wicket only for Paul Horton to be dropped by John Simpson, his second life in this innings. Instead, Rowland-Jones removed Horton's partner, Carl Brown, who shuffled across his stumps to go LBW for a duck, leaving with his side on 24 for 3 and in big trouble. Rowland-Jones and Murtagh were giving nothing away, and Murtagh was absolutely convinced that he had Ashwell Prince leg before. Surely only a bit of bat prevented this from being out. Stephen Finn had more success when he was brought on at the pavilion end. Horton this time had to go after making 32 out of his side's score of 45 for 4. And when Finn struck for the 29th time in this championship season in his next over to have Luke Proctor very well taken behind, Lancashire were all at sea on 45 for 5 and an early finish looked on the cards. But that was not to be the case as Prince and Jos Buttler showed an awful lot of fight and character to just about keep their side's head above water. Prince used all of his vast experience while Buttler proved a point that he's not just a shot maker. He defended manfully for a long period of time, with boundaries from these two being the exception rather than the rule. Indeed, the run rate was barely above 2 per over, as Prince and Buttler put in a real shift. Both deserved their 50s. Prince reached his courtesy of his 8th 4, this one being his second off successive deliveries from Neil Dexter, who was unable to reproduce his heroics from the first day when he put his side in control. Prince had needed 121 balls for this half-century. Buttler's arrived off his 118th delivery, from which he'd found a boundary on 7 occasions. It was the 3rd time in 6 championship innings, and for the 2nd time in this match, that the former Somerset keeper had made it to the half-century mark this year. As in the first innings, he was given a life just after raising his bat. Murtagh denied a wicket as Simpson, perhaps not having his best ever day behind the stumps, dropped a fairly simple chance. It didn't matter though, as Buttler then edged the same bowler to Darvin Milan, who clung on to end a 117-run partnership which had taken 39 overs to compile. No more runs were added when Murtagh struck again, Tom Smith with a nick this time, one which Simpson took easily to reduce Lancashire to 162 for 7. They still trailed by 31 runs. So into the last session we went, and Middlesex now needed only 3 more wickets. But for a while, it looked as if they may miss out on another win at home, as Prince continued to frustrate them as he took his innings into its 4th hour. He still had much to do, but it started to look as if he could see his side to the draw. Knowing that the second new ball was nearing and that runs were as good as using up time, Glenn Chappell played his natural game. He helped his side into the lead, and now every boundary was beginning to hurt Middlesex. These two put on 55 runs in only 8 overs to give Lancashire a 24-run lead. The big moment came just 7 balls before the second new ball was due. Prince, on 86 off 171, threw the bat at this delivery from Murtagh and edged behind. It gave the bowler his second 5-wicket haul of the season and the 23rd of his excellent career. Rowland-Jones then trapped Chappell in front with the new cherry for 32, and Middlesex were again closing in on their victory in what has been very much an up and down season for them thus far. Murtagh produced a beauty to bowl Kyle Hogg as Lancashire were dismissed on the chimes of 5 o'clock for 223. Murtagh taking 6 for 60, figures his performance certainly deserved. So Middlesex were left with 19 overs to knock off the 31 runs they needed, although they didn't use many of those. Indeed, it was all over inside 4 overs as Sam Robson went for his shots. The home side are enjoying their Wednesday afternoons at Lord's, and they were now closing in on a very good victory, which keeps them right in the mix at the top of the LV County Championship table. There are a lot of teams in that mix right now, but Middlesex will fancy their chances of staying there throughout the summer after Chris Rogers took his team over the winning line in the glorious North London sunshine. Having already beaten Nottinghamshire and Yorkshire at home, Middlesex can now add Lancashire to that list. They won this one by 10 wickets and that gave them 22 points to move into 3rd spot in the table. Lancashire had to make do with only 4 points. Middlesex may now fancy their chances of a 4th win when they take on strugglers Northamptonshire next from Sunday. The problem for them is that game is away from home.